Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak self-winding 37mm ice blue dial and stainless steel watch, reference 15550ST.OO.1356ST.08. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history, do a little comparison with this model and its previous model, then talk to you about the bezel dial case bracelet movement, try it on, and then give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. This is the Royal Oak. Now, AP makes many different lines, 4 to be exact. The Royal Oak is their most famous, their most iconic, and their longest standing line of watches. It was created in 1976 by Gerald Genta, who sketched a watch that looked almost identical to what you see now. And since then, which was 50 years ago, the AP has created many different variations in the hundreds. And what you see in front of you is the latest evolution of the Royal Oak, which has expanded to men's, women's, complications, non-complications, tons of different materials, gold, ceramic, steel, titanium, you name it, they've done it. And what you see in front of you is the latest in the 37mm. AP also makes 3 other lines of watches, which is the Offshore, which is an offshoot of the Royal Oak. Then they make the Concept, which is a futuristic version of the Royal Oak or Offshore. And then they make the Dress version, which is the Code 1159. Every watch they make, every line they make has been a smash hit. This one is no exception. So that's a little bit about the history. Now let's talk about comparing this model and to its previous models a bit before we start talking about the details. This is the 37mm Royal Oak. Now, AP makes ladies' watches in either 33, 34, or 37. That's basically small, medium, large. Now, men can also wear a size 37, 39, or 41, basically small, medium, or large again. And the overlap is 37mm, which is what you see here. So what kind of person could wear this watch? A woman who likes to wear large watches, or a man who has a smaller wrist or likes to wear a more gentlemanly sized smaller watch. The 37 is basically a unisex watch. So that's a good thing. It can actually also be shared between man and woman. And depending on dial color, that could be something that a couple would want to do. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, now let's talk about the 37. The 37 it's a recent addition. It's only been on AP's catalog for less than 10 years. For quite some time, they were only making ladies in size 33mm, which was quartz, and men's, which was either in 39 or 41. They just recently, as in the last 10 years, added a size 37. And why is that important? Well, because not everybody has a huge wrist, can wear a 41mm watch, and not every woman wants to wear a quartz watch. So a 37mm was a perfect middle ground between all that, and it had for the first time a automatic movement for ladies, which many ladies can appreciate. Not every woman wants to have a quartz watch. So that's what this line came from. Now the 37mm first started with reference 15450, and that one, it was quite a bit different in many ways. This is the newer evolution of that, and it came out just 2-3 years ago. I want to say in 2021, this reference being 15550 as opposed to 15450 is what you see here. Now they make the 37mm in both this regular bezel, or they make it with a diamond bezel. I would probably say the diamond bezel's for women. Men could wear the non-diamond bezel, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so now you have a little bit of comparison with the models. Let's talk about the watch itself. Let's start with the case. As I said, the case is 37mm. Which part is 37? It's my thumb to my index finger from the 8 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position, longest distance across the bezel, and it has a let's take a look at the the side profile of this watch. Now, since we're talking about the case, if you turn it on its side, you'll see that the thickness is 9.1 millimeters, which, if you don't have any reference, that is quite thin. To give you some comparison, a Rolex Datejust is approximately 12 millimeters, 11 on the smaller ladies ones, and this one being 9, anything less than 10 is considered thin. So 9 is very thin, and anything less than 8 is considered ultra thin. So 9 is a very nice size. So it's not going to get in your way. And if you want something thinner and less cumbersome than an offshore, this Royal Oak could really hit the spot, because it is a thinner profile, easier to wear, yet still very sporty. Okay. All right, that's the case. Now, what else I want to bring your attention to when we're talking about these cases is that it is not any different from the older version. It still had this nice, actually, you know what? I take that back. I believe the polishing on the high polish on this version has wider beveled edges than the previous version. See this edge that has a high polish? The top of it has a satin finish, but the edges have a high polish. That high polish is a bit thicker than it was previously, and that runs down the side of the case. I believe that's true. I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm not sure about that, but to me it looks a little bit thicker. Okay, at any rate, the case, even if it is a little bit different, it's not much different. Okay, so what else has changed in this watch? I'm going to go through it with you. That's the case. Now let's talk about the bezel. The bezel definitely is not changed, and it pretty much is the same as it was before, which is octagonal. The top of it is satin finish, and it's made of stainless steel, and the edges are high polished, and to match the rest of it. The screws, interestingly, are not stainless steel. They're actually white gold, and they're not actually screws. They are acceptors for the screw, which screws in from the back. Okay, so that's the bezel. Now let's talk about the dial. And you might wonder, what is the difference between this dial and the previous dial? Well, might seem like something small, but first of all, this is a new dial color. AP never made this ice blue on stainless steel in the 37 before. Before, the only dial colors you can get on 37 were the black, the gray, white, and blue, dark blue, that is. Now they have this ice blue, which is a great color. Ice blue, pastel colors are very summery color, can match, light yellow, light pink, white, linen clothes, this kind of thing. And it has this beautiful blue dial. They call it the light blue grand tapestry dial. They call it light blue. Some can call it Tiffany blue or ice blue or sky blue. At any rate, it's still it's a light blue. Okay, so that's the dial. And what was different before, on the older versions, they would actually put the AP sign at the 12 o'clock. You see on this one, the AP words are just written in white only, or not really white. They actually look like they were made of white gold, but it's just written. It's written the entire word, Audemars Piguet. On the older one, it would have an emblem, and I think it looks cleaner with this look. It's less crowded, so they don't have the logo. They have this word. It's nicer. And also, I believe, I'm not entirely sure, but I have to take a look at that again, but I'm pretty sure that this version, the hour markers are a little bit longer than the previous version. If you look at the older version, I'm actually going to take a look at jazztime.com right now and look at that, since I'm telling you about it. Actually, you know what? They look about the same. So I might have to take that back. But they do look a little bit thicker. I'm looking at the older version right now. The hour markers look a little bit thinner, and now they look a little bit thinner. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I definitely know it's a lighter color. So let's go with that. Okay, now what is different about, well, let's talk about the next spot, which is the bracelet. Now, I definitely know this one is true because it says it right on their website, although you'd have to kind of know what you're looking for in order to know. This is the 15550ST bracelet. The older bracelet was a 1256. And why is that different? Well, the older bracelet was thicker and it had less of a taper. This one, if you look at it on its side, it has more of a taper and it is thinner. Now, why would you want it to look thinner? Well, because it was too blocky before. When you placed it on its side, and the bracelet just looked a little bit out of place because it was so thick. And now it's thinner, which if you ask me, is better. And also they made the taper a little bit more, and that allowed it to fit your wrist better. Before, the taper would go out, it would flare out too much. The buckle's the same, but that does make a difference. And all this helps the watch to look and feel more ergonomic and fit better on your wrist. Now, let's move on to the movement. Now, this one is a big part. Now, AP about 3 years ago in 2020 or 21, something like that, or actually maybe in 19, they came out with a bunch of new movements. They put them in their code 1159, and some of them they put in the Royal Oaks, and this is one of them. This caliber is the caliber 5900, and it replaces the old caliber. I can't remember the old caliber number, but it doesn't really matter but it is the newer one. This is the caliber 5900, and what is special about it? Well, first of all, it looks like a modern AP movement. The old movement actually looked like an old movement. What is special about this one is that it has a beautiful cutout rotor. If you look at the rotor itself, it's just done really to perfection. It looks really fantastic. Actually, the old rotor didn't even have a cutout rotor. The old rotor was one flat piece of gold, which was not bad, but it really did honestly look a little bit dated, and that's kind of what Patek is using. And Patek is using old movements. Not that Patek is not a good watch, they're also fantastic, but they're a very traditional company. AP, being a more cutting edge company, has a rotor that looks like you see here, which I really like, and it also allows you to view the movement better because you can see through the cutout rotor. Okay, and also the finish is not this old school finish like they did before with those Geneva swirls, or Coteau de Genève, or whatever they call it. And now this finish looks much more modern. So they've changed the finish. I think a lot of other companies are going to follow suit, and they changed the way that the rotor looks, and it just looks fantastic. It looks like a modern movement, and also it looks bigger. Before, the movement actually looked a little bit smaller. This one, I believe, is 28 millimeter. I think the older movement might have been 26. Someone can check that in the comments and let me know. But I believe it looks larger. Maybe it's because of the rotor, but I believe the movement is larger. Okay, at any rate, the movement also has a longer power reserve of 60 hours. Okay, all right. So that brings us to the end of the video, where I need to try this on and give you my thoughts. So I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, and my wrist size is 7.5 inches. Now, what are my thoughts? Well, Royal Oak is not only my favorite, but it's a favorite of many people. It's a top watch, if not maybe the best sports watch ever made. It definitely is the first luxury sports watch that was ever made. In my opinion, it's probably also the best luxury sports watch, even better than that of the mighty Patek Nautilus. If you compare it side by side, the only thing that the Nautilus might win out is in prestige and perhaps availability. Well, definitely availability. AP just makes a lot more of these Royal Oaks. But with that said, let's talk about this one in particular. I think I can recommend this watch for those who have a 7-inch wrist or smaller. So those that roughly equates to a man of 150 or 160 pounds or smaller, or a woman that's, let's say, 130 pounds or larger. If you have a wrist size of 7-inch or smaller, you probably should go with this watch. If you have a 7-inch wrist or bigger, you probably actually should go with a 39 or 41. The size is very important, and that's obviously why AP makes the Royal Oak in so many different sizes, because having a watch that fits your wrist rather than one that just looks good is really important. Okay, so what I think about it is just, as I said, it's a fantastic watch, and they only make it in several colors. At least as of the moment, they're only making it in this light blue, rhodium, black, dark blue, and white. I guess that's quite a bit of colors, but this is actually my favorite. I like this one. Typically, ice blue for other brands is reserved for some very special materials, and they actually only did this ice blue for special materials before. Now they're doing it even on the stainless steel, so it just looks fantastic, and it goes, as I said, with pastel clothes. I can imagine summerish outfits with linen, something like that. It looks very luxurious, but it's just still just a beautiful watch. So those are my thoughts. I think it's a fantastic watch, and if you want to buy this watch, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.